To celebrate the release of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, we've come up with 10 questions about this most recent entry, the series past, and what the next games could look like. Without further ado, let's set out to solve some mysteries of our own. Is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX a good place to start for those unfamiliar with Mystery Dungeon games? Yes, getting through the pre-credit storyline is fairly easy, and there are a number of quality of life mechanics that make it less likely you'll experience a game over. Even if you do, there are many ways to make money and restock your items through exploration. A training dojo gives you a quick way of building up your Pokemon levels as well. What are some methods to circumvent the random nature of the Mystery Dungeon games? At the beginning of Rescue Team DX, even if the personality quiz gives you a Pokemon you don't want, you can just opt to choose your own character and then your partner on your own. The sheer abundance of items you can pick up in the dungeon and their positive effects make traversing each dungeon and overcoming the bosses you face much more manageable. Oran berries can temporarily raise your maximum health, and tiny reviver seeds can automatically be used if one of your Pokemon faints. If I've played the mainline Pokemon games, will I like the Mystery Dungeon series? Possibly? The Mystery Dungeon games are much smaller and more condensed worlds, and there are no trainers or gym battles. The focus is entirely on exploring dungeons, powering up your Pokemon, and taking on more and more difficult challenges and bosses. However, there is still an element of trying to catch every Pokemon in the game, and the turn-based combat will be familiar to those who have played either a Pokemon or a Mystery Dungeon game. Who or what is that purple Kecleon that I keep seeing everywhere? The purple Kecleon sells TMs in Pokemon Square, which is the primary hub of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. This, however, is the only instance of the purple Kecleon in the entire series, and no, it is not just a shiny version of Kecleon. How much replay value do the games offer? Well, you can reach the end credits after about 10 or 12 hours, but it's after that point that more of the game really opens up. There are a number of extra challenges, new dungeons, and new Pokemon that all become available after you roll credits. It could be said that things don't really get rolling until you've reached the postgame. Can I catch all the Pokemon in Rescue Team DX? Well, no, you can't quite catch them all here. There are over 400 Pokemon in Rescue Team DX, including ones that never appeared in the original GBA and DS Rescue Team games, but Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon on 3DS had 720 Pokemon. If I've played previous Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games, what makes this entry stand out? The art style is colorful and reminiscent of a children's book. It might not be for everyone, but it seems to fit this world of Pokemon quite well. Mega evolutions, auto-saving, auto-movement, and plentiful healing items all add to the experience. The story is very simple and easy to follow, leaving lots of room for the gameplay loop to breathe, for better and for worse. If I didn't like previous Mystery Dungeon games or roguelikes, will this entry change my mind? Mystery Dungeon games are definitely an acquired taste, and if you've played one or more in the past and didn't come away impressed, it's not likely that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX will change your mind. That said, players with an affinity for Pokemon, who perhaps have only flirted with the Mystery Dungeon genre, may really enjoy seeing their favorite characters in a new environment and setting. As well, Rescue Team DX does seem to be very accessible and straightforward, and so it may be one of the easier Mystery Dungeon titles out there. Is Rescue Team DX the definitive Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game? Yes and no. The story seems to be a smaller part of this game compared to the more repetitive and routine dungeon crawling. There are over 400 Pokemon in the game, and new features like an improved training dojo, but previous entries have had a larger Pokédex and more of a focus on story. Auto-saving and auto-moving are nice features that improve playability, and the free demo in the eShop means anyone can try this game before buying the full version. What changes need to be made to make Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX and future games more enjoyable and successful? One of the key issues with a game like Rescue Team DX is that the gameplay is inherently repetitive. The basic loop of taking on a simple escort or retrieval mission, entering a dungeon, fighting enemies, and then completing the task or tasks at hand is, frankly, not all that interesting. More variety in the basic objectives and dungeons themselves would go a long way towards creating a more memorable experience. Dungeons could feature light puzzle solving, hidden paths, mini-bosses, and other departures from typical Mystery Dungeon games. Rather than all Pokemon joining you randomly, items like berries or specific held items could be offered to certain Pokemon to encourage them to band together with you. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon actually had Pokemon join you by completing quests for them, and having that element present here could have added a neat wrinkle. A greater variety of out-of-dungeon gameplay would make returning to town between missions more interesting too. As it is, Pokemon Square is pretty basic, and really just a hub for shopping, training, and gathering quests. If you could open up side quests by talking to Pokemon in town or open up new towns as you progress through the game, both of those additions would make for a more compelling Pokemon Mystery Dungeon title. So that does it for our Q&A to celebrate Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. Stay tuned for a full review of the game coming soon to Nintendo World Report, and if you haven't already, download the free demo on the eShop to try the game for yourself. Now get out there and be the best damn rescue team you can be.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.